Well, Joe Manchin has, first of all, just been stringing along the Biden administration for the last year and a half when it comes to the signature legislation, the Build Back Better plan of Joe Biden, and this, the climate splurge plan. It's $2 trillion. And according to the New York Times today, Ezra, he has pulled the plug. He's not going to support it. The Biden administration was throwing everything at Manchin. They were offering all sorts of legislative things, all sorts of fossil fuel subsidies, favors, anything they could do, but he just didn't have it. He knew whatever he agreed to was not going to be in the interest of, as you said, one of the most Trumpian states in the union, West Virginia. And so he pulled the plug on this. Now, what's funny about this is the New York Times quotes a professor from the University of California, Santa Barbara, who said she literally sobbed when she heard the news. And she declared Senator Manchin is condemning the children of America because of the climate catastrophe. Now, here's how crazy having one Democrat off the reservation makes climate activists. Bill McKibben, the climate activist, good friend of Al Gore, last October warned that Senator Joe Manchin was going to alter the Earth's geologic record by not supporting President Biden and his climate plan. Wow. And that's not all. The Rolling Stone magazine said Senator Manchin just, quote, cooked the planet. That was their actual headline. So they actually believe he's endowed with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. He's wearing a cape. This is how powerful, and this just goes to tell you, this is why they want 100% consensus. This is why they allow no dissent, because they know one dissenter brings down their house of cards.
It does mathematically in a 50-50 Senate, but it also does in terms of conformity. And we talk a lot on this show about the Ash conformity test, which was an experiment done about 50 years ago. And it showed that as long as there's one other skeptic in the room, one other dissenter, that gives courage to other people to say, yeah, I don't like to go along with this. It's only when there's unanimity do people say, well, I better not speak out. Maybe everyone's right. I don't want to make waves. So Joe Manchin gives courage to other Democrats who might be more moderate, might be less radical, might be from a state that it's not in that state's interest to shut down fossil fuels. He really is a grown-up, and the emotional reaction to him by these professors and activists, I think it proves his point. And thinking he has these supernatural powers to, change the Earth's orbit or whatever, I think just proves how unscientific and kooky they were. But it's not just radical activists and professors. Mark, I want to show you some tweets that his fellow senators said. I want to start one from Sheldon Whitehouse. That's the name of a senator. It's sort of funny that he's named Whitehouse. He says, he's from Rhode Island. He says, with legislative climate options now closed, it's now time for executive beast mode. That's pretty butch. I don't even really know what that means, but he's clearly talking about Joe Biden wrecking any chance to pass a bill, right?
Yes, an executive beast mode was, if you go back, when President Obama, the Democrat, was our president, he failed spectacularly getting a climate bill through Congress. And they had a supermajority in the House and the Senate. Yeah. They barely got it through the House, and it took multiple votes, and they had to bribe members. And then it gets to the Senate. It doesn't even get submitted for a vote because Democrats, led by Al Franken of Minnesota, the liberals' favorite liberal, refused to support it. Yeah. So what Obama did was the Chinification. He went into full executive beast mode. We had all the executive orders, the EPA endangerment finding, regulating carbon dioxide as a pollutant. And this is what they did through the administrative state. Now, Trump came in, erased it. Biden comes back, and they go on steroids, everything Obama did. So I don't know what Senator Whitehouse is talking about, because Biden has been on executive beast mode with ESG, with the Treasury Department defunding fossil fuel projects, with every agency, a cabinet agency, with his executive orders.
Yeah. And by the way, when you have the lowest popularity really in memory for a president who's clearly losing his cognitive abilities, who is presiding over inflation and disasters in foreign policy, executive beast mode, I don't think it's helping the Democrats in the lead up to the midterms. I want to show one other set of tweets. This is by another colleague of Joe Manchin. Martin Heinrich says, we have an opportunity to address the climate crisis right now. Senator Manchin's refusal to act is infuriating. It makes me question why he's chair of the ENR, I think that stands for Energy and Natural Resources Committee. And this is the moment to meet the challenges that we will be judged by our children, grandchildren, and future generations. We can't wait any longer. So that first tweet about why does Joe Manchin get to chair the Energy Committee? Well, I have an answer to that because he is from an energy state. How's that for an answer? I mean, you wouldn't put, someone from San Francisco in charge of energy. You might put them in charge of tech, for example. But it's almost like they're talking about punishing him. We've seen that sort of, like, if the bribes don't work, maybe they're going to the threats. But that Joe Manchin, I don't think he's easily wobbled, because whatever he hears in Washington, he just goes back to West Virginia and he says, nope, I'm pretty sure I'm taking the pulse of my state. I don't know. I'm a fan, as you can tell, Mark. But are the Democrats would never punish him, would they?
Well, first of all, they've sent out the actors. There's a video clip of him walking through a park with literally activists chanting at him about his votes, and they're like intimidating him, and he is standing strong. I don't think he'll be intimidated. I actually testified in West Virginia about the Common Core education standards. They wanted to basically have the national standard imposed upon West Virginia that said there is no scientific debate on climate. We went with names of scientists, and I testified. And guess who was on that school board when I testified at the Capitol of West Virginia? Was Joe Manchin's wife. And very reasonable. They ended up going along and they rejected these Common Core standards in West Virginia. So they've been at this battle, and they've been tried to be bribed. They've tried to be intimidated, but Manchin's still standing strong on this. He really has no choice. He is to have courage, but if he weakens Ezra, he's gone. I mean, This state is not going to put up with someone who would cave to Senator Whitehouse or Chuck Schumer on climate.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.